You were taught to be honest, to be an open book. You believe that fairness and transparency will win you respect. But in the chaos of the crowd, these are not virtues. They are fatal flaws. History knows my name, Niccolò Machiavelli, because I saw the world not as it should be, but as it is. A coliseum where perception is the only reality. While you play a friendly game, others are fighting a war. They understand that in the unwritten laws of power, your intentions are meaningless. You are judged only by the strength or weakness you project. The man who does not control his image will have it controlled for him, often to his own ruin. In the eyes of others, you are either a spectacle of strength or a cautionary tale. If you do not direct the theater of your public life, someone else will write your tragedy. Today, I will not show you what to do. I will show you what you must never do. These are the 7 paths to social ruin, the 7 mistakes that ensure you will perish like a fool, not rule like a prince. Pay close attention, for the first is a weakness you indulge in daily. Number 1. Never complain or reveal your struggles. The instinct, when overwhelmed or betrayed, is to speak, to seek validation by sharing the weight of your burden. You believe you are being authentic, but authenticity is a gamble you cannot afford to take. The public is not your friend. It is a mirror with a memory. Every time you complain, you make a declaration of helplessness. You announce to the world, I have been defeated by a force I cannot control. You may receive a fleeting moment of pity, but pity is the quiet, condescending cousin of contempt. The one who comforts you today will not trust you with power tomorrow, for they have seen you as a man who needs saving, not a man who leads. I wrote that those who suffer must do so silently, or suffer twice, once from the pain and once from its exposure. In the court of power, your struggles are not currency for connection. They are intelligence for your rivals. When you reveal what hurts you, you are handing a map of your vulnerabilities to anyone who wishes to use it against you. They listen not always to help, but to measure your resilience. And they will make a note. This man is not a rock. He is sand. The powerful do not broadcast their hardships. They absorb them. Their strength is forged in silent endurance, not in the public performance of suffering. This composure creates an aura of mystery and unshakable resolve. People are drawn to those who can carry a heavy crown without ever speaking of its weight. Let others form bonds over shared grievances, huddling together for warmth. You must stand apart. Your silence in the face of adversity is your shield. It declares that you are the master of your own fortress, and you must reveal nothing that suggests you are anything less than the master of your own fate. Number 2, never beg for approval or validation. In the public theater, there is a scent that repels respect more than any other: desperation. It is the man who tries too hard, laughing too loudly, agreeing too quickly, changing his stance to fit the room. He is hunting for a reflection of his worth in the eyes of others. The moment you visibly crave approval, you surrender your authority. Power is not given to those who ask for it. It is drawn to those who appear not to need it. When you act from a need to be liked, you signal that you are not the source of your own value. You become predictable, and the predictable man is already defeated. Others can give or withhold their approval to control you, effectively putting you on a leash. The flatterer, who showers others with praise, is not seen as kind. He is seen as a manipulator using praise as a bribe. They wonder, what does he want from me? By constantly elevating others, you implicitly lower yourself. You become the subject, and they, the monarch. True respect is not won through accommodation. It is commanded. This is not arrogance. It is a quiet self-assurance that requires no external consensus. Your posture, your tone, your measured responses must communicate that you have already approved of yourself. You are in the room to act, not to be judged. Consider the man who remains silent while others rush to agree. His stillness draws more curiosity than the chorus of yes men. His independence is magnetic. It is better to be respected and even a little feared than to be universally liked. Popularity is fleeting. Respect is built on the foundation of strength. Stop performing for an audience and start acting with the authority of a director. The moment you stop seeking their approval is the moment they will begin to offer it freely, not as a gift, but as a tribute. Number 3, never be overly familiar. Too quickly. Modern culture encourages you to break down barriers, to treat a stranger like an old friend. This is a dangerous miscalculation. A timeless principle of power is this: familiarity breeds contempt. Allowing others to become too comfortable with you too quickly is a direct path to eroding your mystique. When you first meet someone, there is a distance. They do not know your limits. This uncertainty creates a space for respect to grow. When you close that distance prematurely, sharing intimate details, using overly casual language, you dismantle your own authority. The mystery evaporates. You become predictable, and what people can easily read, they can easily dismiss. Think of a ruler who spends his nights carousing with his soldiers. He may be liked, but when the time comes to give a difficult command, his authority is weakened. The lines have been blurred. He is no longer just their commander, he is their friend, and friends can be questioned. Maintaining distance is not about being cold. It is about strategic self-preservation. You should be approachable, but not entirely accessible. Your thoughts and feelings should be yours, revealed deliberately, not spilled in an attempt to be liked. Build walls not to isolate yourself, but to create a gate. You and you alone decide who enters and how far, based on demonstrated loyalty. Let people earn the privilege of your familiarity. Your reserve forces others to invest more effort. It makes access to you a prize. People value what they must work for. Do not, in your eagerness for connection, surrender the advantage of being slightly unknown. Number 4, never display excessive generosity without purpose. To be generous is to be good. This is the naive assumption I seek to dismantle. While the appearance of generosity is a powerful tool, indiscriminate generosity leads not to power, but to ruin. A reputation for generosity is a heavy burden. To maintain it, you must constantly give, depleting your resources. The moment you stop, those who expected your charity will not remember your past kindness. They will only resent your present stinginess. The reputation you sought to build becomes a trap. Furthermore, uncalculated generosity is often perceived not as strength, but as weakness. It signals you are trying to buy affection, that you cannot earn it on merit. It is a plea. Others will take what you offer, but they will see you as a resource to be exploited, not a force to be reckoned with. The Machiavellian approach is not to be a miser, but an investor. Every act of generosity must be a calculated move. Your benevolence should be visible, memorable, and targeted. A single grand gesture at a key moment enhances your reputation far more than 1,000 minor favors. When you give, it must be from a position of power, not obligation. You are not nice. You are bestowing a gift as a demonstration of your capacity. The recipient should feel gratitude and a small debt, a leash more powerful than any chain. Be purposefully magnanimous. It is better to have a reputation for being prudent and occasionally spectacularly generous than to be known as the fool who gave away his kingdom one coin at a time. If you are beginning to see the world through my eyes, not as a stage for honesty, but as a battlefield for control, right perception is power below. Let the others know you have awakened from your slumber. The lessons are far from over. Now, number 5. Never lose your composure or show anger in public. Of all emotions, anger is the most revealing. A public outburst of rage is the ultimate confession of a loss of control. The moment your voice rises, your face contorts. You have surrendered your greatest asset, your mind. He who loses his composure shows others precisely where his heart can be pierced. When you show public anger, you give your opponents a gift, a blueprint of your weaknesses. They now know exactly what buttons to push to make you act irrationally. You become predictable, and the predictable man is already defeated. A man who is calm under fire, on the other hand, is terrifying. His stillness is a black box. His refusal to react emotionally is not passivity. It is a display of supreme self-mastery that unnerves opponents more than any threat. While they burn through their energy in a fit of rage, you are observing, calculating. When a leader is attacked, the world watches. If he trembles with rage or lashes out, the crowd no longer sees a leader. They see a spectacle, a man whose authority is so fragile a mere word can shatter it. But if he smiles faintly or responds with a calm, cutting remark, or better, with dismissive silence, his power magnifies. He appears untouchable. Anger must be a cold, controlled instrument, not a hot wildfire. If you must act, it must be a decisive, calculated strike at a time of your choosing, not an immediate, reactive outburst. An angry tantrum is never useful. It is merely noise. Let others be slaves to their passions. You must be the master of yours. True power doesn't scream. It watches, it waits, and it moves with chilling precision. Number 6. Never try too hard to be liked. The drive to be liked is a pervasive force. You are taught that likability is the key. I would argue that while being hated is perilous, actively trying to be liked is a form of self-sabotage that corrodes authority. The man who is always on, cracking jokes, is rarely seen as a leader. He is seen as the court jester. He may entertain, but he is not taken seriously. He trades his dignity for the sound of clapping hands. Power does not entertain. It commands attention without needing to beg for it with a punchline. Similarly, the pathologically agreeable man, who never challenges an idea, becomes invisible. He signals a lack of conviction. Respect is not given to the person who echoes the room, but to the person who has the strength to shape it. My proposition, that it is safer to be feared than loved, is often misunderstood. Fear, in this context, is not terror. It is a deep respect for your capabilities and your boundaries. It is the understanding that you are a person of substance and that there are consequences for crossing you. This is a more stable foundation for power than the shifting sands of likability. When you try too hard to be liked, you make constant concessions. You trade long-term respect for short-term social comfort. A true leader understands some decisions will be unpopular. His focus is not on being popular, but on being effective. The paradox is that the less you seem to need to be liked, the more genuinely people will be drawn to your strength. They may not always like you, but they will respect you, a far more potent form of social capital. Number 7. Never publicly announce your future plans. There is a temptation to speak of your ambitions, You do it for encouragement, or perhaps to impress. From my standpoint, this is an amateurish mistake. Announcing your plans is like showing your enemy your battle strategy before the first arrow is fired. Power grows best in silence and shadow. When you keep your intentions to yourself, you retain the element of surprise. Your competitors cannot undermine a plan they do not know exists. You are free to maneuver without obstruction. When you finally act, your move is decisive, appearing as if from nowhere, creating an aura of formidable competence. Public declarations arm your opposition. Those who are envious are given a clear roadmap of how to place obstacles in your path. They will work quietly against you while you are still planning. By speaking, you invite a battle before you are ready to fight. The master strategist moves like a predator in the dark, silent, unseen. He only reveals himself when it is time to strike. His reputation is built on undeniable results, not on promising speeches. This creates a powerful mystique. People learn that your silence is often the prelude to significant action. They will wonder, what is he working on now? This uncertainty gives you a psychological advantage. Adopt the discipline of silence. Let your ambitions burn within you, but do not let them escape your lips. Let others fill the air with their grand pronouncements. You will cultivate a reputation for being a person of action, not words. When your victory is secured, let the result speak for itself. It will be a statement far louder than any plan you could have ever announced. The world I described 500 years ago remains unchanged. It is a theater of perception, a game where the rules are unwritten but ruthlessly enforced. You have been given a glimpse into the hidden playbook. To recap: 1. Never complain, for it projects weakness. 2. Never beg for approval, for desperation repels power. 3. Never be overly familiar, for it erodes mystery. 4. Never be generous without purpose, for it is seen as a weakness to exploit. 5. Never lose composure, for an emotional reaction is a confession of lost control. 6. Never try too hard to be liked, for respect is a more durable currency. And 7. Never announce your plans, for power grows in silence and strikes by surprise. Many will call this advice cold or cynical. They are the ones who will continue to play a game they do not understand, wondering why their honesty is not rewarded. This is not about becoming a bad person, but a strategic one. Understanding that you are judged not by your heart, but by the strength of your presentation. Most people surrender their power not in grand failures, but through small, everyday carelessness. You now have a choice. Dismiss this and return to comforting illusions, or begin to see every public interaction as an opportunity to build your image, protect your reputation, and command your environment. Become the one whose silence carries more weight than the shouts of others. The one who is observed, respected, and never, ever underestimated. Your reputation is your fortress, your silence, your sharpest blade, and your image is the kingdom over which you rule. Defend it